Hey everyone, it's Denise Salcedo. Welcome to Speak Now Pro Wrestling. Today we are going to be recapping and going over the August 4th edition of AEW Dynamite Homecoming 2021. And I gotta say, those 2 hours of AEW today were kind of wild. We had so much happen on the show today. We always have that every week, but it kind of feels like we kind of had a little bit more this week. At least that's how I feel today. We ended on a very interesting note per se that I think is going to lead many of us to speculate different things on the future of Cody, what's going to go down with Malakai Black, Cody, and just pretty much all of that. We're going to get to it here today because there is so much to talk about with Homecoming today that it's going to be a fun show overall. But before we get started, I do want to welcome you guys all to the show here today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Also, if you are a new viewer here, just know that this is a very interactive show. So if you guys want to send in any comments throughout this entire show, you are more than welcome to. I will be reading your thoughts as we move forward and cover the show from top to bottom. Also, if you guys want to make sure your comment gets read on the air, whether it's a comment, a question, or a statement, whatever the case may be, you are more than welcome to send in a super chat. If you do send in a super chat, I will be reading your super chat. And also, I do get to keep 100% of all proceeds from super chats. So they do help me out very, very much, everybody. So make sure to send those in if you guys can. But let's do this because right now our chat is blowing up with thoughts on how the show ended, thoughts on what went down here today. And I just gotta say, man, with everything that's been happening in the world of pro wrestling, the news, the shows, back on the road, and we're heading into such a big time and such a big period in wrestling. As you guys know, this month we got SummerSlam, and then we have All Out coming in. It just feels like there's so much happening, and we are on a roller coaster, everybody. I'm going to go through a couple of comments and see how you guys felt about the show overall. So go ahead and send them in. Overall thoughts on the show in general. And then we're going to go ahead and jump into the actual opening match of this. We got some comments here. We got a comment from Labor Day who thought the main event was fantastic. Sean says, love that ending. Brandon says, good, solid show. Not the best Dynamite episode he's seen, but still decent. I thought it was a pretty interesting show, to say the least. And again, I'm going to go through every single thing that happened. Here we go. We got one from Karen Nova who says, while it definitely makes sense, I feel like the fourth flavor of Jericho being Wardlow was the least presented in a bit of an underwhelming manner. We're going to get into that because there was not really, I wouldn't call it a controversy, but there was a little bit of a misunderstanding in how that was presented, a little bit of miscommunication that kind of led everybody, including myself, to be very confused on what was happening with that. So we'll clarify that as well. Morningstar says Malakai Black looked effing dope in his entrance, the skull and horns. We will talk about his entrance as well. I mean, there is just too much to talk about. This is a comment from El Profet Jr. 88 who says it was an average Dynamite, but it set up a few storylines going forward. This was definitely a story-driven show, in my opinion, where it felt like they really hammered home the fact that a lot of things we're moving forward with a lot of different stories right now, and that is exactly what I like here. We got a super chat, our first super chat of the day, and this one is from Nick Grasso, who says that Ruby Riott is coming to AEW. For those who do not know what Nick Grasso is talking about, you guys can check out FightfulSelect.com because they did report the news on Ruby Riott and what's going down there, so you could find out that information. But either way, that's another thing to talk about. Oh my God! Thank you so much to Nick Grasso for sending in the first super chat of the night. So let's go ahead and get into this, guys, because again, we have so much to go over. And as we go through this, guys, send in your comments and I will be reading them. Again, super chats will be read 100% guaranteed. All right, so here we go. Let's talk about this match because we opened up with one of the most anticipated matches going into Homecoming today. Aside from the main event, one of the matches that everybody was talking about was Chris Jericho versus Juventud Guerrera in what was the third labor of these 5 labors that MJF imposed on Chris Jericho. Now, this labor, I kind of felt I was excited to see Juventud Guerrera, and a lot of people seem to be excited as well. However, I think in terms of what we've seen with the labors, the strongest one has definitely been the one with Nick Gage. And we need to talk about this match because sadly, there were some things that kind of got a little bit clunky throughout this match. And I'm going to start off by I'm trying to find a nice way to say this, guys. All right. This match did not get off to the very best of starts. Okay. And I saw a lot of people writing a lot of different things, saying a lot of different opinions on how they felt, what they thought went wrong at the start of this match. And I have my opinion on that. Personally, I just think that first and foremost, I think that that Juventud and Jericho didn't seem to be on the same page. I also thought that Juventud was maybe moving a little bit too fast in the ring. And I think that is where we kind of saw a disconnection here. However, with that being said, this match, I didn't think it was anything great. I really did not think that this match was anything great, but it did pick up so much more to the point where people were chanting that this match was awesome. I didn't feel that way, but the crowd felt that way. And I do want to give a lot of credit to Juventud because there was a moment during this match where Jim Ross pointed out that Juventud was rusty. And I kind of thought that was so uncalled for during this match because I did not necessarily think that it was Juventud's fault per se as to why this match started off the way that it did. I just think that we had different levels of speed throughout this match. And again, they ended up getting this match back together and it ended up being a decent match, but I didn't like the whole Juventud is looking rusty here. I thought it was kind of like something that kind of felt a little uncalled for during this match. Anyway, so I was not a fan of this, but anyways, the missed spots mainly were those hurricanranas from the top rope right at the top. I think they ended up going for it 2 times. It just didn't go that great. The other thing that we saw was them going outside of the ring and then kind of slowing down the match a little bit. But once they went back into the ring, we saw Juvi do a lot of cool stuff in there. And that's when you kind of really saw a shift in the direction of this match. So again, if you did not watch this match, ignore the beginning. It does get better. And then we also did have a fun finish. As you guys remember, part of the stipulation was that Jericho had to do a move off of the top rope. So Jericho first hits MJF with the Judas effect on the mat. And MJF is essentially basically saying he's an idiot. He can't essentially win the match this way, etc., etc. So then Chris Jericho goes to the top rope and ends up hitting the Judas effect from there. So that is how he's able to get the win. I feel bad though because of the way that this match started. I kind of feel like a lot of people aren't necessarily going to be talking about Juventud Guerrera the way that I thought they should be based on his work ethic. After this, we did have a lot of confusion that went down. So for those of you guys who are wondering, what on earth is going on? So post-match, we essentially had MJF talking about the next labor. And so he says, quote, "I'm so sorry, guys. Did we ruin this moment for you?" And he tells Jericho that he's an idiot because if he really thought that he was going to let him enjoy this moment, he definitely was not. And then he says that labor number 4 is going to be against Wardlow because before this, we did see Wardlow attack both Chris Jericho and Juventud Guerrera after this match. He hit Juice with an F10, and then he knocked him out with the casualty of War. So then MJF says, "All right, for this next match, Wardlow is your opponent." And then he says that the stipulation is that he's going to be accompanied by, he says, the salt of the air. No one is better than him, MJF. And so I'm thinking here, I was a little bit fooled in this portion of this because I thought he was going to say somebody else. I thought he was going to name somebody else to be with Wardlow. But then the way that I understood this was that MJF was saying he was going to be on the corner of Wardlow. That's what I thought. All right, he's going to be on his corner, so he's obviously going to be doing all of these shenanigans outside of the ring. However, afterwards, I actually missed it, but everybody was telling me that JR said that it was actually he was going to be a referee in the match. And then I thought, oh, well, maybe I misunderstood. But turns out later on when they announced this match that it is not, MJF is not going to be the referee. He is going to be in the corner of Wardlow. He is not going to be the referee. So that was a little bit of a confusion there, again, because a lot of the fans thought that he was going to be a referee based on what JR had to say. So there is a lot of information already within that first opening segment that we had here with AEW, and we're getting several super chats, so I'm going to go through them. But as we go through these, guys, let me know how you guys felt of Jericho versus Juventud Guerrera. Let me know what you guys, how you guys feel about the fourth labor. Does it feel a little bit like a letdown, or are you satisfied with it? Let's see what you guys have to say here. All right, we got our first super chat on this, and this one is from Dr. Sophia Bonilla, who is a DWO EVP. Yeah. Dr. Sophia says, was it fun seeing your BFF, The Juice, on Dynamite? It was definitely fun seeing him on Dynamite. I guess now he's my BFF. I don't know why, but now he is. But thank you so much to Dr. Sophia for sending in the super chat. And we got a couple more, guys. This one is from Diable 37, who says, the opening match started rough, but they reeled it in at the end. Juvi was pacing a little faster, in my opinion. Love the finish. See you at GCW on Saturday. Hell yeah. I'm so nervous, by the way. For those of you guys who do not know what Diable 37 is talking about, I will be ring announcing GCW in LA. I'm so nervous. Anyways, but yeah, I agree with this comment. Again, this match started off very, very not good. Okay, it was not good. The start of this match was not great, but they did reel it in for sure. To the point where I think that the fans kind of like forgave the fact that it started off so poorly, which was unfortunate, and they knew it too. We got a super chat from Chris Ludek, who says, I agree that Juvi and Jericho didn't seem to have much chemistry tonight, and I think it's just the age of these two showing up after all of these time. I mean, like, to be honest, I just kind of felt like it hurts me to say this, but I just didn't think that Jericho could keep up with Juvi. And that's just the way that I saw it in this match, which sucks because, you know, it sucks to say, but that was kind of how I felt during the first portion of this match here. And I'm going to go through another one. We got another super chat. This one is from DKC Returns, who just says, here's $5. Thank you so much, DKC Returns. I really, really appreciate it. And I'm going to bring a couple more comments here because we got so many on this. We got a comment from JB33 who thinks that that the finish was executed perfectly. And then we have another comment from, I'm going to go a couple higher up because we got so many more. This is one from Major Blood, who says, Wardlow being the fourth labor is definitely underwhelming. Other surprises like Nick Gage and Juvi. Yeah, I think a lot of us kind of like the fact that they were doing something that was unique, something that we rarely get to see. We rarely get to see, obviously, Nick Gage and Juvi. So I think given that they kind of went and did something so impressive to kind of go back down to this, it didn't feel as major necessarily. We got a comment from Ralph who says that this match was rough to watch. It kind of was a little bit there, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is, guy. And let's see what else we got here. I think for the most part here, everybody seems to be sort of on the same page, but all right, cool. We're going to go ahead and move on here. So many people sending in thoughts about this. Let's see what else we got here. All right, we got one from Frank Gaia XX. It says, Wardlow is a worse punishment than Juvi. What is he talking about? I think that it's more in terms of surprises. Like, Wardlow isn't necessarily a surprise per se versus like Nick Gage and Juventud Guerrera. That felt more like a surprise. I think fans were liking that aspect of it. That's what I want to get at. Brandon Rosen sends in a super chat and says, could it be that Jericho was just trying to sell the injuries suffered from the first two labors? They still have a good story to tell. If that was the case, I don't necessarily think it came through because scrolling through social media, everybody noticed that the match started off very rocky. So I don't think if that's what they were trying to do, it didn't necessarily hit home. Alrighty, guys, here we go. I'm going to read one more comment about this, and then we're going to go ahead and move on. We got one from QQ, Going Pew Pew, who says, the Wardlow MJF friction was wild. They were in the inner circle. They've been cohesive since the Pinnacle forum. That split can still happen down the road, but for now, it isn't a reason for them to be at odds. And we got so many comments here. Haji Galashi says, you don't sell injury by botching moves. Giuseppe says he was really hoping that Lance Storm was going to be the fourth. That was definitely something that a couple people brought up and that they were interested in seeing. I was interested in seeing that, but that's not the direction that they're heading in. But either way, regardless, with MJF being on the outside, not the referee, everybody, but on the outside, he is definitely going to be, he ain't going to make it easy for Chris Jericho, okay? Because the fifth and final labor is MJF, so he does not want to have that match. So because of that, we are going to be seeing like a bunch of shenanigans with him essentially making up like all of these different rules and whatnot. All right, guys, so here we go. We're going to go ahead and move on. So after this, let's jump into that Jon Moxley, Eddie Kingston, Darby Allin. Oh, wait, before I get to that match, actually. So we had a backstage segment, guys. Get the napkins ready, because I know some of you guys are going to be heartbroken by this. But we had the official, yes, you can say, official breakup of the Dark Order and Hangman Page. Hangman Page just basically says that he feels he needs to go at this alone, and he pretty much breaks up with the Dark Order. And it was very sad. People cried. Just kidding. I don't think anybody cried, but it was an emotional moment. And I will say this, though. The second that Hangman Page said that he was distancing himself from the Dark Order, my brain immediately went to the possibility of Bray Wyatt going into AEW, and obviously that's bound to happen because of all the rumors that we've been listening to. You're bound to think like, okay, maybe there's a good chance that he's going to end up in AEW. We do not know that he is, but it was something that creeped into my head, especially because immediately people were fantasy booking him, being the new leader of the Dark Order, which I would be a fan of. And given that they could do this story and there's a way for them to do this story, I do see it as a huge possibility. And we'll obviously talk more about, what went down with the Elite and the Easter eggs and all of that later today. So here we go. We got another super chat. This one is from Daniel Zambrano. So thank you so much to Daniel, who says, when respecting your friend's boundaries breaks the hearts of a million wrestling fans. It did. It was heartbreak all around, and it was really sad. And even afterwards, we do see the Dark Order, and we'll talk about this later. We'll see the Dark Order trying to come out and help out Hangman Adam Page, and it was just kind of like, I like them together. Like, I like seeing them together. They're fun. But it was probably bound to happen. Thank you so much to Daniel Zambrano for sending in this super chat over here. All right, guys. We actually got another super chat. This one is from Flamethrower Fluff Salisbury, who says, that was the first time I was sad that someone left a cult. Usually we root for people to leave a cult, right? We're like, yes, break away from that cult. Not with this one here, not with this one. And I want to read this funny comment. This one is from Cody Santella, who says, my mom even loves Hangman Page. Oh, Hangman Page? He's a heartthrob. I'm sure a lot of moms are definitely interested in Hangman Page, even if they're not wrestling fans whatsoever. We got another super chat. This one is from Doc Zawiz. I hope I did not mess up your last name, Doc. If I did, I'm sorry. Doc says, if Bray comes in, would he turn the Dark Order back to heel? Would you want to see that? I want to see him coming in, and if he were to take over the spot as the leader of the Dark Order, I think that doing the heel direction would definitely work, because it would just be, something polar opposite of what we've been seeing as of late. And I think that would be good. I would be interested. I would be invested. And I would like to see, given that we all know that he's a very creative guy, I feel like we would get some really good stuff out of that. So I would definitely be interested in that. I'm secretly rooting for it. But again, I kind of don't want to get my hopes up. We'll see what happens. But thank you so much to Doc for sending in this super chat. Thank you so much. All right, guys. We got some people that obviously don't want Bray to lead the Dark Order, and I do see a lot of that happening. But honestly, I'm a fan of it, and if anybody were to take over and be the new leader of the Dark Order, I think that he would definitely be somebody that I feel would be okay. Alrighty, guys, here we go. So, let's finish talking about that Jon Moxley, Eddie Kingston, Darby Allin match against 2.0 and Daniel Garcia. So as you guys know, 2.0, formerly known as Ever Rise over on WWE, they were recently released on the June 25th releases. And so now it looks like they're in AEW. And I gotta say, this was a good way of introducing them into the AEW audience, but while also not completely they didn't make them into like these big stars. They didn't make like a big deal about them, which I kind of thought felt appropriate because they're obviously like going up against Jon Moxley, Eddie Kingston, Darby Allin, who are these big stars, but they were still giving them a platform and, you know, an opportunity to shine. So I kind of like the way that they presented them to the AEW audience. I was a fan of this. So they also had Daniel Garcia. So BTW, the match kicked off with Darby Allin and Daniel Garcia. Now, I'm going to be honest, guys. He's had 4 matches with AEW, and they were both on Dark and Elevation. And I had not seen any of his matches in AEW whatsoever. I'd never seen his matches before, so I really did not know anything about him, what he was going to work like whatsoever, nothing. So this was for me an introduction into Daniel. And I will say this, I thought that for the brief moment that he was there, he was perfectly fine. He didn't really do anything that I would say was like, OMG, I'm so impressed or anything like that. But he also didn't do poorly whatsoever. He was there is what I'm trying to get at. So good for him to get this spot on Dynamite. So that's a really good opportunity for him. And obviously, he was really just there to take the pin because they didn't want to have Jeff or Matt take the pin here. So Daniel ended up taking the pin here. He took the pin after Darby essentially hit him with the coffin drop. So this was a fun little match. I liked it. This was fun, guys. It was harmless and it was good. What did you guys think about this? All right, we got several comments on this. This one is from Giuseppe, who says, it was a good way to introduce them, solid foundation. Again, I agree. They weren't big stars on WWE. On NXT, they were rarely presented. They seemed like they were going a certain direction with them on NXT, and they were actually getting TV time, but not necessarily at the level that you're like, oh my God, it's Ever Rise. You know, like I just kind of felt like, yeah, it was just there. It was just there. Let's see what else we got here. This one is a comment from Justin, who says, this was a very entertaining squash. The moment when Lee was marking out over Sting and Darby hit the suicide dive was hilarious. So that was definitely one of the best parts because he was marking out for Sting, kind of like, oh my God, it's Sting. And he's marking out. And then, they're on the outside of the ring. And then all of a sudden, Darby Allin just like shoots straight through the ropes and onto him. That was probably the highlight of this entire match. It was a really, really fun moment. We got a comment from Faustin316 who says, my takeaway from the match is that if and when they introduce the trios title, Mox, Eddie, and Darby should be the odds-on favorites. Hey, if they need something for them to do, by all means. But this doesn't really feel like something permanent having Darby with Mox and Eddie Kingston. But we'll see, obviously, what happens there. Sticker Red says, give Ever Rise back their coffee mugs. Isn't that sad that that's kind of really all that we remember of them in NXT was really the fact that they were always carrying around their coffee mugs, and that's kind of it. I think they were doing like some sort of like talk show. I'm not even sure, man. It was really, really weird. We can see what else we got here. And all right, cool. So I think we'll go ahead and move on in the meantime. But before we do, I want to thank everybody who is here today. You guys are awesome. You guys are helping me make this show grow so much more, and I could not be happier. Next month is actually my 1 year anniversary doing Speak Now Pro Wrestling here on F4W, and I am just like over the moon at how much the show has grown, and like the family that we've grown here, and how many regulars we have, and how many new faces I see on each and every single show. So thank you guys so much for coming in. So let's hop on to the next topic here. So after this, here we go, guys. Oh, I should have probably, damn it, I didn't get the screenshot for this, guys. Let me grab the screenshot for this because we're gonna kind of need this here for the Easter eggs topic here, guys. So if you guys are really good at them Easter eggs, this is the moment to essentially show your skills, because after this, we had the Elite kind of dropping what you would say a couple of bombs on here, pretty much with what they were wearing here. So what you guys see here is the picture of the Elite. Essentially, they come out and they're playing basketball in the back, as you can tell. And we have Doc Gallows essentially addressing the Dark Order. They start talking about how they're the greatest group of world champions. Kenny starts telling Hangman Page that he blew it and that he has no friends now. And then they cut down the net. But why I'm showing this picture here is because there is tons of Easter eggs. And obviously you guys have been keeping up with the news. You guys know what's going on. There's a possibility that we may be seeing some new faces on AEW. One of them being CM Punk. For those of you guys who do not know, CM Punk would say that the initials for CM Punk, the CM, were actually stood for Cookie Monster, according to him. And you see Kenny Omega wearing a Cookie Monster shirt. You see Doc Gallows wearing a Ric Flair robe. As you guys know, Ric Flair recently asked for his release. We see the Hawaiian shirts that the Bucks are wearing, which could symbolize Bray Wyatt, Wyndham Rotunda. We have the Bollywood Boys shirt that Carl Anderson is wearing. That could be a signal that either A, they're coming to AEW, maybe they're going to Impact. I have no idea. They start mentioning how they like robes. I mean, this was a lot to take in. And for the most part, people saw right through what they were trying to do there with all of those Easter eggs. So how did you guys feel about this? And do you think that maybe aside from the CM Punk stuff, because come on, we know that CM Punk is coming to AEW, okay? But aside from that, what did you guys think of some of the other Easter eggs that we got from this? Oh, and also the Bollywood Boys did like my post about this, BTW. Maybe they were trying to confirm something. I don't know. We got a super chat from Labor Days who says, happy for your success, Denise. Thank you so much, Labor Days. I really appreciate all of your support here. Let's see what we got here. We got so many comments here. This one is from the Keys Boo, who says, Ric Flair is definitely coming. That spot by Cody, the rope by Gallows, the fact that Flair and Khan are apparently legit friends for a while now. TK is really living his dream. And let's see what else we got here. I'm going to go through a couple more comments here. Send them in, guys. We got somebody says, Brandon says that he's not looking forward to a possible Flair. I think there is, obviously, given that Ric Flair is one of the greatest promos, I definitely think that they can find something for him to do there. That's for sure. And let's see what else we got here. And I'm going to scroll through a couple more comments about this here. Okay, this is from Patrick Spear, who says, I'm not sure it's just me, but I just don't like the Elite. It's not even the fact that they're good heels, which they are, but they have go away heat from me, but I'm not sure. Maybe that's a good thing. They definitely do not have go away heat with me whatsoever at all. I find them very entertaining, and a lot of people do. And we got Robert Bailey here, who says a 4 Horsemen reunion on TBS is essential. And just a bunch of different. Havo says no teases for Bryan Danielson, which I found odd. I mean, unless we didn't catch them. Maybe we didn't catch them. I don't know. And more people are asking about Bryan Danielson and whether or not he's still coming. I mean, my guess is definitely yes. When? I do not know. Maybe the Arthur Ashe show, maybe some other time. I do not know. And we're going to go ahead and move on from this. But that was a really fun way I think, and they could just be, obviously just teasing, having fun with the news, etc. But I really do like the incorporation of doing these like Easter eggs. I'm a fan of that kind of stuff. And obviously, Easter eggs get over a lot with different fandoms and movies and all of that. So I think it's a really clever way to kind of, get the fans talking. I really like this. All right, guys, here we go. Let's move on from this because after this, we got a match between Christian Cage and the Blade. And here we go. Christian Cage attacks the Blade before he even makes his way to the ring. This really doesn't help give Christian Cage any sort of edge. We see them go at it back and forth, and then we see the Bunny. The Bunny tries to get involved. She tries to interfere in this match, but Leyla Hirsch, who she faces later on in the show, comes out, and essentially they end up fighting their way all the way to the back, so they get separated from this very quickly. But let's fast forward really to the finish, because the finish was the Blade. He's been using his brass knuckles. He tries to use the brass knuckles on Christian Cage. Christian Cage is obviously a lot smarter than that. This isn't his first rodeo. He hits him with the spear, and that is how he wins this match. Christian Cage is currently undefeated. He's only lost one match in AEW, and that was the Casino Battle Royal at Double or Nothing. And even then, he was one of the final men. So it's not even like it was such a bad loss or anything like that. And then later on in the show, it is he does have an interview where he essentially says that he is the new #1 contender for the AEW World Championship. We do not know when that match is going to happen as of right now, but we'll see what they say down the road. So what do you guys think about Christian Cage being the new #1 contender for the AEW World Championship? What are your thoughts on pretty much that, honestly? All right, we got a super chat from Mario Morales. Thank you so much to Mario, who says, bring your A game. You are being heard at Frankenstein's. What? I'm on Frankenstein's right now? You're kidding, right? You're kidding. You're joking to me, right? Because now I'm feeling a little pressure, feeling a little sweat coming down right now. I'm guessing you're joking with me, but thank you so much to Mario Morales for sending in this super chat. Guys, don't rib me. I'm the easiest person to rib. I am super gullible. I'll believe anything. So that's pretty much that. All right, guys, let's see what else we got here. So many different comments on all of this here. We got people saying that they're behind Christian Cage. They think that he's a good opponent for Kenny Omega. I agree. I think that he's a good challenger for Dynamite, though. I wouldn't necessarily say that I want to see Christian Cage versus Kenny Omega at All Out. That is not the match that I think the people would necessarily go nuts about. I think that this would be a good match for like a Dynamite or hell, even Rampage. I don't know, but not for All Out, though. So I will say that match, that much there. Let's see what else we got here. We have some interesting comments here, guys. I'm a little bit shocked at how many people here kind of want to see Christian. Not that many, but we got a couple of people here that want to see Christian win, which is pretty interesting. I can't say that I agree with that, but it is interesting to see that some people are saying it here. We got a comment, super chat, from Christopher Marino, who says, now I want your show live from Frankenstein's. Right? Hey, you want to book me? Book me. Let's see what else we got here. We got a comment from Patrick, who says, I don't think Christian will win the title, but he's a good challenger for now. 100% agree here. Let's see what else we got. We got what on earth? We got more people saying they wouldn't mind Christian defeating Kenny Omega. I don't believe it. I do not believe it. No, I can't buy it. I'm not buying it here. Not buying it. All right, guys, we're moving on. All right, so after this, we did have a quick segment backstage where Dasha is interviewing Andrade, and he's with Chavo. They bring in Fuego del Sol, and they essentially have him shine Andrade's shoes. They try to have him shine Andrade's shoes. Chavo's telling them, like, Andrade needs you to shine his shoes, but instead, Andrade just attacks him, and that's kind of about it. But let's talk about that Britt Baker promo. So, This is going to be pretty exciting. So here we go. So Britt Baker comes out, and obviously the last time that she was at Daly's Place was at Double or Nothing when she became the AEW Women's Champion. So that was a big night. I was there for that. It was an exciting night. And so she's back there, and she's kind of talking about that. But before she can get very many words out, she is interrupted by none other than Red Velvet. And I will tell you this much, guys. When Red Velvet came out, I was like, hell yeah. So we've been talking about this like the last for a bit now, that Britt Baker needs more challengers. She needs more hot challengers. She needs more credible challengers. And I would say that, obviously they could build Red Velvet to be a little bit more credible, but it doesn't hurt. She has been very, very impressive the times that she has appeared on Dynamite and has had matches. I remember coming on to these shows and basically telling you guys, like, I see so much more potential in Red Velvet than I did at the time with Jade Cargill. And I know some people kind of got a little upset at that, but I really did feel like Red Velvet was sort of not being as appreciated as I thought she should, because even during that mixed tag match with Cody and Shaq and Jade, I really thought that the highlight of that match, one of the highlights, was definitely Red Velvet. She came in and she brought a lot of fire, a lot of energy, and I remember really enjoying that. And since then, she's continued to win matches, etc. She mentioned that she is on a 7-match winning streak. She's like 22-4. And what I specifically liked about this is that when she came out and essentially, challenged Britt Baker, she starts off by insulting her. And I will tell you that as a female, when another female tells you that a color does not look good on you, that is a burn. That is a burn, a big time burn. So she comes in with a lot of sass, a lot of attitude, basically telling that to Britt Baker. And then she hits Britt Baker with, like, yeah, the last time that you beat me, you essentially beat me as enhancement talent, basically saying, like, yeah, I wasn't at the level that I'm at now. And so I really liked that line from Red Velvet. I thought it was fantastic. She puts over her record. I thought that was really cool too. And so we are going to see this match at Rampage on August 13th when it's in Britt Baker's hometown, guys. Pittsburgh. That's going to go down. That's going to be very exciting. It's going to be a very exciting match for Red Velvet. Obviously, I don't see Red Velvet winning whatsoever, but that's besides the point. The point is that she's getting a pretty good opportunity here. Post-match, we do see Rebel try to take her out with the crutches. She misses, but then Britt Baker ends up attacking her and ends up smashing her with the crutches on her face. So I thought that this was a very exciting segment, and Britt Baker needs challengers like Red Velvet to keep elevating her as a champion. So let's see what we got here. We got a super chat from Riven Blade, and Riven Blade says, so happy for Red Velvet. She looked ready for months. Hell yeah, that's exactly what I've been saying. I just said it right now. So I 100% agree with Riven Blade. Thank you so much for sending in that super chat here. Let's see what else we got here. Let's see. This one is Patrick Spear, who says, Red Velvet is such a megastar, but I wish she had been built up before being fed to Baker. I agree. It kind of seems like this was, they could have done a lot more. They could have definitely given her some wins on Dynamite, some recent wins on Dynamite. That would have definitely helped. She should have been in a match today. They should have had her in a match, instead of, something else. They could have definitely done, given Red Velvet a win. Then she could have came out and challenged Britt Baker. That would have been awesome, just to kind of give her a little bit more credibility in front of the Dynamite viewing audience. So that would have, I definitely agree with what Patrick Spear says here. Keith Duran says, love Red Velvet as a challenger, but I didn't realize how tiny she was. Hey, don't dispute tiny people, all right? As some person that here myself is short, yeah. All right, let's see what else we got here. Major Blood says Red Velvet, Chris Statlander, and Ty Conti should be good challengers for Baker. Ty Conti is somebody that I think that she is loved. She is liked. She would be a great person to essentially go up against Britt Baker as well. Chris Statlander, same exact thing. Red Velvet, it's happening. So I really agree with all of this here. Let's see what else we got here. This one is from Pomi Wrestling, who says, we are about a year away from Red Velvet's first squash match on AEW. She came so far in such a short time. Has it really been that long? I didn't even really think I realized that, honestly. And Haj Gulashi also points out that Red Velvet looked like $1 million tonight. And yeah, I completely agree. And all right, guys, we're going to go ahead and move on. But either way, that's going to be a match to look forward to on Rampage, especially since it's going to be a big night for Britt Baker. But here we go, guys. We're going to go ahead and move on because after this, we had Hangman Page, the Elite, and a lot that kind of went down there. So there's so much to talk about. Here's the thing about AEW, guys, is that they pack so much in these 2 hours. It's literally nuts, okay? I constantly have like, let me see, I don't know, 7 pages of notes tonight. There's been times where I have like 11 pages of notes. It's nuts, okay? But here we go. Hangman Page and the Elite. So Hangman Page comes out. We see the Elite come out. Kenny's Kenny. He's going to be throwing all of these shots to Hangman Page. He starts basically telling him, he asks him, like, are you clean because you want to be back with the Elite? And Hangman Page essentially shuts that down. He says no. Kenny calls him a try-hard. He says he's a try-hard like everybody else in the crowd, getting some good heat there. Kenny then says that there has been times where he's stayed up late thinking at night about how he might just be able to get past the sins that Hangman Page has brought upon himself, right? He starts saying that he could possibly look past his personal demons. But then he says that he's not going to do that because he doesn't feel that Hangman Page fits the bill. Basically saying that Hangman Page is not championship material. He says, quote, the Elite does not have any losers in the group. We don't allow failure. We don't have people that are failures. We don't have people that play second fiddle in our group. So that was definitely several shots at Hangman Page. And then they essentially take him out. They start attacking him. Then we see the Dark Order come out. The Dark Order, they come out even after they just got dumped like 20 minutes ago or however prior to this. So they come out and they try to help Hangman Page, but they're essentially blocked before they can even get to the actual ring. And then Frankie Kazarian ends up coming in, and then he ends up helping out Hangman Page, but it's really not enough. He's one man. He's not going to be able to take on the Elite himself. I did think it was kind of silly though that the Dark Order couldn't make their way through, but Frankie Kazarian could, because it's like, okay, you have how many people in the Dark Order, and then you have Frankie Kazarian by himself. I did think that part was a little bit not believable, but either way, we see this segment closes out with Kenny Omega hitting Hangman Page on the head with the belt. So this was good stuff, man. This is still one of my favorite feuds right now in wrestling. This is the match that I want to see at the end of the day. I don't know how, and I'm really bummed about the reports that came out that this was not going to be the match at All Out, and I really, really hope that that's not the case, because I want to see Kenny Omega, Hangman Page. At this point, I don't care how they get there. That's what I want to see, but I don't know if that's the direction they're heading in. Apparently, that's not the direction anymore. So who knows? Send in your thoughts, guys. What did you think about all of this? Here we go. This is a comment from Mike, who says, I think they are saving the Hangman story later. Hangman will win the bout. I see the Bucks going back to baby faces when they feud. When they feud with the Good Brothers and Kenny, the Good Brothers and Bucks don't have any challengers, might as well face each other. It does kind of feel like they might be saving the Hangman Page story for later, but it's kind of like when something is hot in wrestling, and utilize that. You never know. I mean, the momentum could wear out. If you have the momentum right now, in my opinion, I would utilize it and take advantage of it during that moment there. We got another super chat from Daniel Zambrano, who says that Stu and Una were trying to stop the rest of Paige's wishes. They didn't have a reason to stop Kaz. I guess you're right. I saw it more in terms of numbers. It's like, okay, if you really want to come out and help them, that's the way I saw it, but you clearly just explained it. So thank you so much to Daniel Zambrano for sending in this comment here. Let's see what else we got here. Let's see what we got. I'm going to go through a couple more comments. Sean says, Denise, you completely missed the reason Dark Order didn't get into the ring because Evil Uno and Stu Grayson were purposely holding back the rest of the Dark Order. Okay, so I totally missed that. I saw it as a numbers thing, but thank you so much for clarifying that. Thank you, Sean Harrington. And let's see what else we got here. This is a comment from Vladimir D, who says, random thought, but what if Uno and Stu Grayson turn heel and replace the Good Brothers in the Elite? They had the rest of Dark Order away from helping Hangman and have a tag title match against the Good Brothers. That is an interesting take. I don't know how I feel about it. I'm going to say for right now, no, but that is interesting, and I'm not too entirely sure what to make of that. All right, let's see what else we got here. We got more comments, just people correcting me. Damn, now I just feel dumb, guys. Ignore me. Ignore the last 2 minutes of what I just said. All right, let's see what else we got here. We got so many different comments on this. This one is from Ace Semper, who says, just finished watching Dynamite. 3 out of 5 stars. They set the bar real high with the last couple of episodes. They did. That's a thing, though, and I've noticed that when AEW does like a decent episode, because there's been so many other episodes that were just like a level above that, people are like, oh, well, this episode didn't really hit the mark, you know, but I didn't think that this episode was bad. I really didn't. I felt overwhelmed with today's episode. And that's the thing. Usually when I feel like there's a lot happening, like I feel like, I don't know, it just makes it better because nothing's worse than watching a show and not having anything to say about it. So I thought today's show was good, especially with the way that things ended. We got a super chat from Flamethrower Fluff Salisbury, who says they need to do Page versus Omega very soon. In a few weeks, they may not even have crowds again. That is terrifying. And we did talk about that, I believe, on the last show. When they made the Rampage announcement, I did mention that there were a lot of rumors, or a lot of people at least speculating, not rumors, but people speculating that they may have decided to push the show to do CM Punk's debut on this episode of Rampage in Chicago, because there might be that worry that, you know, who knows if they're going to have crowds at All Out. As of right now, they are, but given that we don't know really what's going on with like the pandemic and COVID and all of that, new restrictions could be placed upon. So I don't know, but I hope we stick with crowds because I hope things get better. But again, we just don't know what the future holds. So thank you so much to Flamethrower for sending in this super chat right over here. I really appreciate it. And all right, let's see what else we got here. All right, we're going to move on from this, but I think I've got pretty much a lot of people here. But I'm going to give you guys a quick reminder, as A. Semper says, don't forget to give this video a like. If you are watching on YouTube, drop a like on this video. It really does help out. You know, YouTube will recommend this video to more people. So if you guys want to help me grow this channel, feel free to give this video a like. And even afterwards, drop a comment if you guys want. All right, guys, here we go. After this, we had a match between Miro versus Lee Johnson for the TNT title. Lee Johnson, young prospect who has shown a lot of improvement. This was a fun match, and I like the fact that they I thought that they were essentially going to have Miro dominate Lee Johnson in this, but they kind of didn't. They let Lee Johnson get a lot of offense in here. We saw him hit several. He did several suicidas. He did several. Miro hits him with a suplex at one point, but then he super kicks him multiple times to Miro. So that was really good. And then Lee manages to take down Miro at one point here and then ends up hitting him with a frog splash. That was another good moment. Miro kicks him in the face and he gets super pissed. And that's where Miro starts leveling things up and he ends up winning with the game over. So it was a fun match. I thought this was a really good showcase for Lee Johnson. It really, really was. So good for him. We got a super chat from Havan the Legend. Thank you so much to Havan, who says, my fantasy is All Out has Battle Royal for the title with a wild card. Instead of a new wrestler, Hangman comes out and gets the win. Blow the roof off. Dude, I'm so set. I was so set on seeing Kenny Omega versus Hangman Page. I really, really was set on that. And I'm very curious as to what changed. I know some people are like, maybe it's the whole CM Punk, Bryan Danielson thing. I don't necessarily think that they need the belt whatsoever. I want to see Hangman Page be champion. That's really what I want to get at. But I'm curious to see what the new match is going to be, at least based on what we've heard that we're not going to see Hangman Page, Kenny Omega. So we'll see what happens. If they are going to do that, I'd be very, very happy. Nick254 sends in a super chat. Thank you so much to Nick, who says, any ideas on how they build up the women's side? Britt is hot, but they need more than her and Thunder Rosa for the division. Yeah, and that's the thing too, is that Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa, they can't just put that match on a Dynamite. Like, no, like that's going to be like a big deal match. Like that is a headliner type of match. So they definitely got to do it on a big stage. And I don't want them to go directly right now to Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa because, you know, since Britt Baker won the title, you know, she really only had this thing with Nyla Rose. And even then that feud was nothing hot whatsoever. Like people were interested because they're interested in Britt Baker, period. But they weren't, at least I know some people could argue and say that I was wrong, but I don't really think that a lot of people were all that invested in Britt Baker versus Nyla Rose. If they were invested, it was just for the sole purpose of Britt Baker, and because they're a fan of her, and it's because she's over as hell right now. Yes, I do agree with Nick. They do need more challengers for Britt Baker. And I've talked about this on past shows. And that is why I was happy that they essentially had Red Velvet. And even then, Red Velvet hasn't been, she's not somebody that's been featured very often on Dynamite. She's not, they could have definitely given her more wins, as we mentioned earlier. They could have definitely done a lot more for that to help out Britt Baker as champion. So yeah, I do agree with this. Thank you so much to Nick254 who sent in this super chat here. We are getting so many comments today, guys. Holy moly. I'm always like, send in your comments. And then they all come in and I'm like, I can't handle them all. I can't. So trust me, if you guys ever run a stream, you will know what I'm talking about. Let's see what else we got here. All right. Let's see. Let's move on from this because I do want to talk. There's so much more still to touch on right now. So let's talk about really quickly. So as you guys remember, one of the big stories that we have been talking about in regards to the news lately was the whole thing that went down with Domino's and the Nick Gage Chris Jericho match and the drama that all unfolded there. Well, one of the brands that definitely kind of ended up shifting the eyes onto them, I guess you can say, was PBR. I'm not sure exactly how it's Pabst Blue Ribbon. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce that. I'd never heard of this drink before. I didn't know anything about PBR prior to this whole story with AEW. So with that being said, congratulations to them, because if I'm somebody that didn't know what they were or anything, I'm pretty sure that I'm not the only one. Like maybe I live under a rock, whatever, but I had never heard of them before. So good for them. Getting new eyes, that's the point. They kind of utilized social media to their advantage, and they were kind of like, we're edgy, we're cool, like we're okay with AEW showing violence. So they had a lot of fun. If you go on their social media page, you'll see that on there. But then today they aired a commercial during AEW Dynamite where they had Matt Cardona, Brian Myers, Smart Mark Sterling, Chelsea Green. Hornswoggle was in this commercial. It was a pretty fun commercial. They're hanging out at the pool, opening the drinks up. Pretty good stuff, unexpected. I'm curious if they got that done within that time frame, or if this was something that was already in the works before and they just utilized the whole Domino's controversy. I have no idea what the timeline is here with that, but either way, I thought there was a smart move by the company. I thought it was a good way to get people to talk about their product. Again, I didn't know anything about them. Now apparently I do. We got a super chat from Brandon Rosen who says, I'm so happy with how AEW is booking both Miro and Malakai Black. It's absolutely baffling how WWE and Vince McMahon didn't know what to do with them. And we're going to talk about that obviously a lot more once we actually get to the finish. And thank you. Gerardo Alvarez says it's pronounced how it's spelled, Paps. And someone says, seriously, you never heard of Pabst Blue Ribbon? Nope, I'd never heard of Pabst Blue Ribbon, guys. Someone says, if you know about beer, it's a very popular brand. Well, there you go. I do not drink beer. And Ben says PBR is a hipster beer. I'm also not a hipster. I do not drink alcohol whatsoever. So that probably explains why I did not know what Pabst Blue Ribbon is. See, even right now, I had to make sure I got the name right here. But Daniel Zambrano points out that their Twitter was hilarious. You know what? I may not know their brand. I may not drink the product. I'm not going to drink the product. I'll tell you that much because I don't drink alcohol. But regardless, I can appreciate a good marketing move here. And they marketed themselves very well with this and how all of this went down. So yeah, I think I'm okay with all of that here. Reductive 92 says, have you heard the Lana Del Rey song, This Is What Makes Us Girls? Yes, I love that song. She meant it's PBR in the song. Man, maybe I just forgot. Yeah, I just forgot, but thank you so much for bringing it up. I love that song. All right, guys. So don't make fun of me. I didn't know what Pabst Blue Ribbon was, okay? Sue me, everybody. Let's move on. All right, here we go. Someone says, I don't drink, but I've heard of it. Guys, I'm sorry. I do not drink. I do not party. I'm super boring. I'm a workaholic. Let's move on. All right, let's see what we got here. Already talked about the Christian Cage interview. Let's talk about this number one contenders match for the NWA World Women's Championship. So this was the Bunny versus Leyla Hirsch. The winner will face Camille at NWA Empower. Yeah, okay, I need to read this comment from Rome who says, you know now, so what they did worked. Exactly. I know who they are now. All right, back to this. Back to the wrestling, ladies and gentlemen. Back to the wrestling. Man, this was a match, guys. I liked Leyla Hirsch a lot. I figured that she would be the one winning this match. But if I'm just going to be completely honest with you guys, I did not care because I do not watch NWA. I don't have much of an interest in the product. So with that being said, I just didn't really care that much about this match. And I don't mean that as an insult. It's just that I just did not have an interest. Like, I'm watching AEW for AEW. I'm not a fan of the NWA product. So, and I don't know much about Camille. Leyla won, okay? Leyla won via submission. She has this like face off with Camille. That's about it. It's not for me. That's about it. What did you guys think about this? Obviously, there's other people here that are NWA fans. So I want to get your guys' thoughts on this. We got a comment from Zoso Picasso who says that this match was superb. It was all right. Let's see what else we got here. Everybody's still talking about Pabst. Patrick says, I'm so tired of them using the Bunny to put people over. Don't realize how good she is. I'm a bit disappointed that they don't use her in a more significant position. You are right. The coup just like no PBR and no NWA. Wow. I'm sorry, guys. So someone says, oh man, I'm trying to click on that. 1 second. All right. That one's from Pyromacho who says, what? Not an NWA fan? Denise, you are a monster. I'm sorry, guys. Never got into the product. Never did. Labor Day says NWA really took a quality dive about a year and a half ago. Again, I'm not interested. And this is a comment from D. Eddie who says, Camille's pretty good. I just wish AEW didn't put their women's matches half in the commercials always. It is what it is there. YY says NWA Power is great. Definitely give it a thought if you like the old regionals. I've seen it. I did not like it. And let's see what else we got here. I think for the most part, we got Major Blood. We got Camille's Major Blood says Camille was like 2 feet taller than Leyla. Well, I don't watch NWA. I'm interested to see how well the match could be. She was definitely very, very tall next to her. And I think I'm like 1 inch taller than Leyla. So I would probably look the exact same way against Camille. Like, I'm short too. So I get it. All right, let's see what we got here. Bloody Blue says, for a workaholic, Denise is a no fan of the working man, no PBR, no NWA. Nope. And let's see what else we got. All right, we're going to move on. Let's see. All right, we got a quick backstage segment. Jade Cargill will be returning. We'll have a return match on Elevation. this was interesting. I think that they should have been doing more matches with her on Dark and Elevation, Dark Elevation, a lot more. And she's only had 8 matches in AEW. She's only going to get better with the more matches that she has. She's still on a winning streak, obviously, but she's still, from the times that we've seen her, she has been improving a lot more, like match to match that she's had. But they definitely do need to have her get a little bit more experience as she goes down the road. That's the only way she's going to continue to improve here. All right, guys, here we go. It is time, though, everybody. It's officially time to talk about one of the most interesting, I would honestly say this was probably one of the most interesting segments that we've had in AEW for quite some time. I would put it up there with one of my favorite segments because I loved everything that we saw here from top to bottom. So we had this match between Malakai Black and Cody Rhodes, and this was Malakai Black's first match in AEW since making his debut with the company. And let's start off with the entrance because he's been known, we all know, just like Bray Wyatt, very creative guy, very different type of guy, very interesting fella to say the least. And so he came out, we knew that he was going to have some sort of cool entrance, but I didn't really know what to expect. He comes out essentially wearing like a skull carcass with like horns. It kind of just looks like, it just screams death. That's all. It screams death. I don't know how else to describe it, but it was a pretty badass look though. I'll say that much. I really like the entrance. I thought it fit very well with what you would expect out of Malakai Black. He's wearing kickboxing shorts, which I think just looked phenomenal. I love that look. I thought it was a great idea to switch that up as well. We had the crowd essentially chanting "holy shit" before the match even started. And then we had this was a short match, but it was an effective match, and it was a very, very dominant win for Malakai Black. So one of my favorite parts was when we saw Malakai Black get Cody Rhodes in a single leg crab. And the reason why I enjoyed that was because I liked the grip in which he got Cody Rhodes for that single leg crab. I was really, really digging it because it just kind of made it look much more legit. Like it really did look like he was hurting the guy. And that to me made it just much more impressive. Then we see the only thing that I thought was a little bit over exaggerated was when Cody was about to go for a move off the top rope, but instead Aleister Black kicks him on his foot, and he kind of slightly kicks him, but Cody Rhodes ends up going like flying into the table and smashes right into the table. It did kind of feel like a little bit of like a I thought they could have made that look a little bit more believable, but whatever. He goes through the table. It's still a pretty cool moment. He comes back into the ring. Malakai Black hits the Black Mass and pins Cody Rhodes. Just like that, guys. This was a very, very good way of putting him over. If you were gonna debut him in a strong way, this was definitely the way to do it. And I don't think you could have gotten much stronger than this. Like I know Cody gets like a lot of like flack and he gets like a lot of hate and all of that stuff. But when it comes to putting guys over, he really goes above and beyond to put these guys over. Like you got to give him credit where credit is due. And I do think credit is due here with the way that he put over Malakai Black. We obviously saw him put over Brody Lee about a year or so ago. And now with Malakai Black, this was the strongest way that they could do it here. Immediately after this, Tony Schiavone, he steals Joe Rogan's gimmick and he does this interview with Cody. And this is where things kind of get to that next level here. Cody, he basically starts talking about how, AEW and how people laughed at them because he said that it was going to be a revolution and people didn't believe it. During this, he's getting very emotional. The crowd is chanting AEW, and you're starting to sense like, okay, Cody is going somewhere with this, but where is he going with this, right? So then he starts to say that AEW is no longer the alternative. As you guys know, a lot of people were saying that AEW was the alternative to WWE. And he says, we're no longer the alternative, we're the competition. And this was an interesting line too, because if you guys remember just about this week, I think it was, or last week, when Vince McMahon was on the the earnings call, he basically said that AEW was not competition, and he went on and talked about that. He even mentioned a little bit about the drama between the EVPs, but he says that no matter what, he still loves them. And then he says that Daly's place is to him is the AEW amphitheater. And he's thanking the fans, and he's saying how much he loves them, and he's getting really emotional. And I'm thinking, a lot of people were messaging me during this asking if he was retiring. I wasn't expecting him to retire, but I figured this was going to be like a little bit of a goodbye here. So he starts to take off his boot, and he leaves it there on the ring, and he's about to take off the other one. But before he can get to the other boot, Malakai Black comes back and hits him with a crutch on the back of his back and essentially lays him out there before Cody can say his like official goodbye. So this, to me, my understanding of this is that this is probably going to be a little bit of a goodbye for Cody Rhodes for now, like maybe a couple of months. I do think that the Cody Rhodes character does need a little bit of a refresher. It does need a little bit of time to essentially just get itself refreshed, essentially. And I don't see this as a goodbye forever, obviously. Like, this is just a temporary goodbye. And I could see him, coming back in a couple of months and, essentially going back to Malakai Black. And this could be a good story to tell in the future. And then obviously, with a lot of, we're assuming a lot of new talent is coming into AEW. I do think that, this is kind of a way to like, I don't want to say make space, but to maybe shift the eyeballs in another direction. So I thought this was really good. I thought the storytelling was really good. I thought the way that Cody was expressing his emotions and the way that he was selling this, he had me invested. Like, I was like, oh man, like what's going to happen here? I did not see Malakai Black coming from behind to attack him. I thought that he was going to take off the boots and that was it. And that's how the show was going to end. So I did like that surprise attack from the back. I was a fan of this. Thumbs up. How did you guys feel about Malakai Black's dominant win over Cody? What did you think of his presentation, of his entrance, of his gear? How did you guys feel about what Cody Rhodes had to say? Send in your thoughts, guys. We got a super chat from Cameron Mumford. Thank you so much to Cameron. I really, really thank you for the super chat. Cameron says, the whole presentation tonight of Black is exactly what WWE main roster should have done. The little things go a long way. And in the case of him tonight, it builds a star. This was definitely a star-making performance. I would say that he's had one of the best introductions, AEW debuts, definitely one of the best intros into the company. Again, very, very dominant win. Thank you so much to Cameron for sending in this super chat right over here. We actually have another super chat from Crifter. Thank you so much to Crifter, who says, what a debut for Malakai Black. Dude looked like an absolute killer in the ring. If Miro is God's favorite champion, then Black is the devil's favorite champion if he's not the devil himself. I like that. I think that's pretty cool. And I'm glad that you kind of made that like comparison, or not a comparison, but you made that connection there. Thank you so much to Crifter C for sending in this super chat. I really, really appreciate it. And let's see what else we got here. And let's see. This is coming from Morningstar, who says the skull and the horns, even his shirt looks black metal. Really good stuff. And let's see. We got so many comments about this. We got another super chat. This one is from Nick Grasso. Thank you so much to Nick, who says, Malakai Black versus Bray Wyatt. Make it happen, TK. Who knows, man? I think at this point, anything is possible, guys. Anything is possible. But thank you so much to Nick for sending in this super chat. Guys, if I did not read your comment, resend it in. I'm going to try to get as many because you guys sent in so many different stuff. We got Karen saying that she wants to see Malakai Black for TNT champion. Kareem says, not a fan of the control copy, control pace of the match Cody had with Brody. I'm heartbroken if Cody is really retiring. I do not think that he is retiring. This is just a break. And I would say that his character definitely needs it. And I'm sure he has, obviously he's a father. He probably wants to spend time with his daughter. Also wants to, work on outside projects and all of that different stuff. So I think that's definitely probably the direction that he's getting in here. We got a comment from Pomi who says, I love how diverse AEW's main event match has been over the past month. We've seen the likes of Nick Gage, Lance Archer, Ethan Page, The Bucks, Sammy Guevara, and now Malakai Black. And I'm going to go through a couple more comments here. We got so many comments on this, guys. D. Eddie says Malakai Black is the hero that we needed. And Josh Bowen says the booker should never put himself in the matches. If Cody is running things behind the scenes, he should take a step back. Thought it was good. Daniel says perfectly booked match to get him over as a killer, to get Cody support. Just great wrestling. Keith Duran says can't say Cody doesn't put anyone over. Black showed WWE exactly what they missed out on. Possible dark side faction. Darby Allin, Malakai Black, Abaddon, and Wyatt. That could be very interesting. Again, they have the possibility, they have the power to get as creative as they want to be with whatever they decide to do here. Let's see what else we got here. This is a comment from Lenny who says, what AEW has managed to pull off during a pandemic, which really hurt damn near everyone, can't be dismissed. Cody taking this moment to really get in what he did was good, to openly get it out there. AEW, contrary to whatever is competition for WWE, AEW is a very valid destination for talent who want to play their craft in a major way without being restricted by an inept creative process. A lot of things to touch on there with what Lenny said, but he put in a very well thought out comment that I wanted to make sure got up there. The Cooge points out that he thought that this was a real cliffhanger. Pyromash says, to be honest, I have not been feeling Cody over the past year, but that post-match interview reminded me of all the reasons I was so behind him in the past, and it put me back in his corner just as he leaves the ring. And your comment is literally exactly why I said that his character needs a break and needs a moment to refresh itself. It really was because the fans weren't connecting with Cody anymore. There was a loss there in that connection. So yeah, I do kind of agree with what you were saying here. And then he did say in the media call ahead of Homecoming, he did say that there was no longer a heel bone left in his body. So he does not want to be a heel anymore from the sounds of it. So take a break, come back, get a nice reaction when he does come back. At the end of the day, like whenever you see people come back, they're going to get a really nice pop for sure. And alrighty, guys, I think that's pretty much it. But wow, we got so many people sending in so many different comments today. I tried to get to as many as we possibly could. I hope you guys really enjoyed the show. Again, it was a very interesting episode of AEW Dynamite, to say the least. It was a very interesting episode. I will be back for another show on Friday, guys. And also, for those of you who do not know, if you did not hear me make this announcement prior, I am now also doing Smackdown and Rampage coverage when Rampage debuts on August 13th. I will be covering Smackdown and Rampage, which means that my show will be going on an hour later, which I prefer because I do not want to go up against Rampage, guys. I care about my ratings. I don't want my ratings to get hurt here. So I'll be watching SmackDown, I'll be watching Rampage, and then I'll be coming on here to talk about both. And then, as you guys know, I'm here Tuesdays for NXT. We're hanging on, man. There's got to be hope for that brand. AEW Dynamite, obviously a lot happening, as you guys just heard. And then again, SmackDown, and then SmackDown with Rampage. So much. Thank you guys so much for checking out the show. I hope you guys had a good time watching, listening, however you took in this episode. I appreciate all of your support. Thank you to everybody. I will see you guys on Friday. Have a good one, everybody. Bye.